Hi, welcome to another episode of Pearls with Janice. Today we're talking about being an effective substitute teacher. My target audience are those of you who may never have thought about being a substitute, those of you who have thought but were a little bit hesitant to try, and those of you who are currently substitutes. This program is also excellent for school districts, principals, vice principals to utilize with your substitutes who you think might need a little more information. So feel free to use this YouTube show. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take us to a document that I created, and let's see, here we are. And we're going to just go right through it, okay? Because although you might think it's tedious that I wrote it out, I did it on purpose so you could go back to it at any time. Okay. Substitute teaching is a wonderful opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to decide if a teaching career is for you. Number two, if you already know that a teaching career is for you, substitute teaching is the way for a principal, a vice principal, a school superintendent, other teachers to know that you are the type of person that they would like to hire full-time within their school. You also may want to just be called more frequently, so these tips are going to help. Now, see this term here, actively engaged? That's my motto for life. You have to be actively engaged in everything you choose to do in life, even being a substitute teacher. Now, you might think, how can you be a substitute teacher and not be actively involved? Well, let me just give you a little scenario. That would be the substitute teacher that sits at the desk with a magazine or the newspaper while the students are at their desks. That is not active engagement. I'm going to teach you how to be actively engaged and how to stand out in the crowd. And that's important too. All right, now I'm going to start with something that people from my prior school will laugh about, because I do believe that first impressions are important. So prior to going to the school, you should have an area of your closet set aside with clean, ready clothing to go and be a substitute in. Men, I ask that you wear a collared shirt that is neat and clean, tucked into a pair of comfortable but professional looking slacks, even a pair of Docker type slacks. But cargo pants, inappropriate, in my opinion, one of my pearls. Jeans are also not appropriate. And I would recommend that you wear a comfortable shoe, men, but not sneakers. Okay. Women, I say, first of all, a skirt, a sweater, a blouse, a pair of comfortable slacks with any appropriate top. Nothing revealing, nothing too tight either on the top or on the bottom. You want to be able to move around with the students. You want to be able to move quickly, so you need comfortable shoes. Again, stockings, tights, a comfortable wedge on your shoe. You're not going to want to wear high heels. But I just want to say also, a lot of women are wearing leggings today. They're not as professional looking as you should be dressed. And many women don't look good in leggings. So be careful if you're wearing leggings. If you choose to wear them, make sure your top is very professional and very long and covers, okay? All right, enough said about dress. Here I did say, men, if you choose a collared shirt and a tie, you are going to stand out as caring and professional. So that would be my choice if I were a man and I was going to be a substitute. I also want you to know that if you are called as the physical education teacher, then by all means wear a warm-up suit, but something that's neat and clean and professional looking. But absolutely, and sneakers. Now, here we go on some of the tips. Prior to the student's day beginning, you should get to your school a good 30 minutes ahead of the student's arrival into the classroom. Now, arrive at the school, at least, here I say it, 30 minutes prior to the students. Go directly to the main office. Look through the material given to you by the secretary or the materials that are in the classroom itself, and check that you have these things. A, the security procedures for evacuations, fire drills, and lockdowns. Today, the number one job of school administrators, of teachers, and of substitutes is school safety and security for you, for everyone in that building. So you make sure you have a copy of all of this. Everything you're going to ask for is confidential information. Anything you see or hear or read within this school district, you leave there. If you have questions about anything you see or you hear, you go to the principal, go to the vice principal. Before you leave, ask for an appointment if they can't see you right then, and discuss what your concern is with him or her. Don't take it out and talk to the world about what you saw in that school. It is confidential information. Okay, let's get back to this. So, you're going to look for door locking procedures. Again, for a lockdown, you need to either have a key or there is some procedure that school is using to lock the door. Okay, you're going to ask for phone numbers or extensions or the whereabouts of these for the principal, the main office secretary, the nurse, the social worker, the guidance counselor, and anything else you think you may need during the day. So before the school day begins, you're going to ask for all that. Attendance procedures, there might be a sheet or it may be an online process, so you'll ask about that. Special needs of students in the class, whether the special needs are health needs, academic, or behavior needs, you want to know ahead of time so you can be alert to that student and assist in any way that you can. Your goal is to make each and every student in your classroom successful for that day. Okay? Lunch count procedures, again, there may be a sheet or there may be an online access necessary, but they will tell you. A lot of this information is probably given to you at the orientation before you are Board of Education approved for this school district. But in case you forgot or in case you can't find it, be sure to ask before the students arrive. Additional housekeeping needs, whatever it is that you might think that you will need. Now, lesson plans for the day and the location of the teacher's manual and other resources. They may be right on the teacher's desk. They may be handed to you by the school secretary. Review for the first half of the day. Take a look at the lesson plans that you're going to need for the morning. And during your lunch, you're going to review for the afternoon classes. Now, this is what you're going to do. You're going to create a do now assignment on the e-board or on the chalkboard prior to the student's arrival. This is any assignment for that grade level that meets a Common Core standard. You can use the teacher's guide. You're going to find many, many activities. I do recommend, though, that you create a notebook for your position as a substitute prior to even going to any of these schools. A notebook should include numerous math and English language arts do now type activities for each grade level for which you may be teaching. In this way, you have everything at your fingertips. If you're called for a grade 8 math position, you're going to grab that grade 8 math notebook and take it with you, and it should be full of ideas. You're going to write on the board, "Welcome to class, my name is Mr. Jones," or whatever is appropriate. You're going to introduce yourself to the students, to the teachers in the classrooms around you in case you need assistance. You're not going to ever leave your room, though. You will always stay in your classroom once students are in there, okay? When students' school day begins, now this is when the students are now, either you are bringing them into the classroom from outside, they may line up, or they may line up in the hallway, or they may just move right into the classroom as they arrive to school. So, when the student's school day begins, this is key to start off having a wonderful day that is successful for the students as well as for you. Number 1, stand at the door to the classroom, having a view of the hall and a view of inside of the classroom, and greet each and every student with an individual smile, a good morning, and with eye contact with that student. Even shake hands if it's appropriate. Tell each student to begin on the do now that's on the board, as you're going to discuss it later. Yes, look in the eyes of each and every student, welcoming each one personally. It means a great day. It means a great day for any student. Now, number 2, you must always follow the lesson plans from the teacher. Today in our schools, we have so much to accomplish in a very short period of time. We also must teach directly from the Common Core state standards in a majority of states in our country. So you cannot ad-lib. You cannot just go into a classroom and lecture on anything you want. The teacher has just so many days and weeks to accomplish a unit and the lessons that are connected to it. A day with a substitute is an active learning day for our students in our schools today. No more substitutes playing movies as in years gone by, when a day with a substitute when I was in school was a free day of no work and lots of play. Well, it hasn't been that way in our schools in this country for a long, long time. So understand that you will be actively engaged as the teacher. Please stay actively engaged throughout every minute of the class. There's no time to sit at your desk and look at the newspaper or at your cell phone, which should always be turned off except during your lunch period. Be actively engaged with the students. Look at their faces and their expressions and their body language. That is telling you that it will tell you so much. It may be telling you that the assignment is too difficult for this one individual student. So, when you see this, you go to the student and you ask quietly, one-on-one, if he or she is having difficulty getting started with the assignment. Now, what you're going to do, differentiate the assignment. That's a tough thing to do when you're just starting out. But I'm going to teach you that in another one of my Pearls with Janice videos that will be up within the next week. But I just want you to listen to what my suggestion for differentiation. Differentiate the assignment. If it's too difficult for a student or for students, This means if you're asking the students to compare and contrast the causes of two different wars, and he or she just cannot do that because that's a little bit of a higher order thinking skill, then bring the cognitive level of the assignment down to a more achievable assignment by asking the student to just begin by looking in the book and listing what was the cause of one war at a time. As I said, another Pearls with Janice episode will focus on differentiation. This is so important in this time of ours when our classrooms are full of students with diverse backgrounds and diverse abilities. Now, number 5, I want you to stand and move about that room continually. As I said, there's no time to sit at the desk because you're going to be interacting with the students. That will also cut down on discipline issues. If students are being disruptive by talking out or interfering with our ability to conduct the class, then move near to that person first. The close proximity may end the disruptive behavior without you saying anything. However, if the disruptive behavior continues, then quietly speak to the student by asking a question such as, "Is there something you need? May I help you? Is there a problem?" But you're going to ask this question with sincerity, not in an authoritarian, sarcastic manner. There is no room for sarcasm in our country's schools. Never. All you do in this classroom, in every interaction with each and every student, and with the class as a whole, is show respect. So that will come from your body language, from your verbal language, and from your facial expressions, okay? Now, number 7, if that disruption doesn't stop, then you explain again privately and quietly to that student that you need him or her to stop, and then you note the consequence that will come if he or she does not. It could end up being a phone call home on the next free period you have. It could be a detention. It could be a call to the vice principal or the principal reporting the behavior. Number 8, if there's a disruption that is making it so you are unable to control the classroom, pull a do now out of your notebook, the one that you brought, or find a do now quickly from the teacher's manual, write it on the board, ask the students to focus on it, and begin the assignment. Then you quietly go to the phone and call the main office and explain the situation, or call the principal or vice principal or the guidance counselor, and don't hesitate to ask for assistance if you need it. Now, what I'm teaching you to do is anytime you pick up that phone and leave teaching of that group, you need to get the students involved in a do now. And that can be just something you have ready in your book. Okay? Number 9, keep alert to students who seem to be in need, not only academically, but some you're going to notice if you look carefully. Some are sending messages of need via their body language, their facial expressions, and sometimes through the words they say. Don't ignore these cries for help or attention. You have no idea how some of these children come to our schools. They come with problems from their home life. Some of them are hungry. Some of them are ill. Some of them have situations that are going on at home that they cannot stop thinking of. So look at the facial expressions, the body language, and listen to the verbal language of your students. If you believe a student is in need emotionally in some way or physically, you must tell someone before you leave. If the student is in immediate need, then again, use that do now approach and quietly, while watching the class, speak on the phone to the principal, to the office staff, to the social worker, to the nurse, or the guidance counselor. Be sure to ask the person what action he or she has taken. You are to document that for yourself, that report, and be sure you leave a note for the principal or an email that states what behavior you saw or heard and who you reported it to and when. It's very important to keep those notes. You may really be helping someone. Now, for potential harassment, intimidation, or bullying incidents, again, you cannot ignore it. You must report it, and you must also stop the verbal interaction immediately and separate those involved. Do it all quietly, but do it. There's a great deal of information on harassment, intimidation, and bullying law in the state of New Jersey on the New Jersey Department of Education website. I also have a video on anti-bullying on pearlswithjanice.com. Please go back to your orientation notes from when you went to orientation to be a substitute in the school district, because I am sure they told you exactly what to do in the case of harassment, intimidation, or bullying. There is so much more to being a substitute. But if you follow these guidelines, you will start out as an impressive substitute. Now, I'm going to bring myself back up, and I'm going to tell you that there are going to be many, many more tips for teachers, for substitute teachers, for getting yourself ready to work with the Common Core standards, as well as with students who need a little more assistance and students who need to be challenged more. So go to www.pearlswithjanice.com and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.